Whether you need cooked rice to use as a bed of carbs, for fried rice, or you're making bibimbap, you might be intimidated by the prospect of cooking perfect rice, especially if you don't have a rice cooker. So let me show you the easiest way to cook rice without the need of a rice cooker or any kind of weird technique. All you need is a heavy bottom pan with a lid and a kitchen towel. That's it. Of course, and some rice. Now, there's a lot of varieties of rice in the world. Over 40,000 according to Wikipedia, but all of them fall into one of three categories. We have short grain. Main traits are the starchiness and the ability to become very sticky when cooked. Sushi rice, arborio and carnaroli are the most notable examples. Then there's medium grain. This is the middle ground between short and long with the ability to be sticky when cooked while still retaining some of its bite. Examples include calrose and bomba rice, which is used for paella. And last but certainly not least, we have long grain. These are on the dry side and produce a distinct firm grain that separate and stay fluffy after cooking, with basmati and jasmine as the most common varieties. These are very popular on a lot of Asian recipes. Today I'm focusing on the long grain rice, as that's the one you're most likely going to need cooked on its own. A quick overview of the process is this. Rinse the rice, bring it to a boil in a heavy bottom pan, let it steam with the heat turned off, then enjoy perfectly cooked rice. Fluffy with no water left in the pot and most importantly no burnt or yellowed rice on the bottom of the pot. Really simple. Now let's go deeper. To start, rinse the rice in cold water 3 to 4 times or until the water is clear enough to see the rice through it. You can do this directly in the pot you're going to cook it in. Drain it as best as you can. You can use a strainer, but I'd rather not add another thing on my to clean list. Now place the pot on the burner. Add the water and with the heat turned on medium-high, bring it to a boil. You can place the lid on to make it boil faster, but you need to be careful for it not to boil over. When it starts to boil, stir it in if you want, but it's not necessary, and let it boil for 1 minute. Then turn off the heat completely, place a kitchen towel on top and then the lid of the pot. The goal is to keep the steam from escaping and use it to cook our rice. Set a timer for 15 minutes and after that taste the rice to make sure that it's cooked through. If it's not, then quickly place the towel and lid back on and let it sit for an additional 3 to 5 minutes. What you're greeted with is perfectly cooked rice. Now the reason I didn't mention the rice and water quantity is that this method can be adjusted based on the amount of rice you need to cook. For this method the rice to water ratio is 1 to 1.86. Now you're probably thinking, dude, I just want to cook some rice, no need to bring math into this. I feel you, so don't worry about it. Let's take an example to make it easier. For 100 grams of rice, you're going to need 186 milliliters of water, or grams, because it's the same thing. That sounds a lot simpler, doesn't it? But what if you want to cook a weirder amount of rice? Here's a simple formula to use for the calculation. So let's say you need to cook 375 grams of rice. To figure out the amount of water needed, take the weight of the rice in grams, double it, and then subtract the equivalent of 10% of the rice weight. And what you get is the amount of water you need, which is very close to the exact ratio value. Now let's get back to our cooked rice. After it's done cooking, take it out and spread it on a white plate or a cookie tray to allow the steam to evaporate. If you don't need the rice right away, let it cool off for 10 to a maximum of 20 minutes. Then store it in an airtight container to be used the following day. Maybe you're thinking of making some kimchi fried rice. But if you don't plan to use it in the following 24 hours, then I strongly recommend storing it in the freezer. Do that by placing the cooled rice in a freezer-safe bag and store it flat to facilitate faster freezing. And to use it, it's as easy as popping it in a microwave-safe dish with a tight lid and place it in the microwave for 2 minutes. What you get is a hot and ready to be used rice. Or you can just add the frozen rice directly in the dish you're cooking if it's something with liquid like chili.